Okay, thank you very much and welcome. So, today the topic for the session is test of difference, and the test that we are going to discuss are t test and ANOVA test. So, this is the topic for today's session, and the contents I decided to cover in this session is first of all, I will speak on what do you mean by the test of difference. So, the first topic is test of difference. Then I will move to comparative analysis between Z-test, T-test, and ANOVA test. Where we can apply Z-test, where we can apply T-test, and where we can apply ANOVA test. Then we will move to one sample T-test, independent sample T-test, and paired sample T-test. These are the different forms of T-test. And after that, I will discuss on one-way ANOVA. So this is the agenda for today's session. So let's discuss point by point. There are 6 points to discuss today. So first is uh, what is the meaning of difference of mean? Actually, comparison is the human nature. You compare yourself with your colleague, and the organization compare one set of people with other set of people. The investor compare one industry with other industry. So it is a human nature to compare. Now, what we compare? The question is that what we compare, right? Normally, we compare that whether my average income is high, whether other average income is high. The ladies compare that whether I am more beautiful than others. So it is also a comparison. So people compare that whether I am more healthy than others, whether I am more okay, like that. So we compare, and comparison is the human nature, and we compare two aspects. Number one, mean. We compare mean, like for example, whether my average income is better than average income of other, whether the average performance of marketing department is better than average performance of the finance department, whether the average salary of a male is equal to average salary of female. So we compare, or in finance we compare whether the average profit of FMCG sector is equal to the average returns of or average profit of other sector, right? So we compare, uh, and normally in most of the time, 90% of the time, we compare the average. We compare the average, and this concept is known as difference of the mean. The second concept of comparison is the comparison of the beta, like whether the variable is having more impact for this group as compared to another group. Like for example, the if you see an advertisement and you decided to go for the shopping. So in this case, we can say the advertisement will have an impact on the shopping. Now my question is that can I say that the impact of advertisement on the shopping is same for male as and female? And you may say yes, you may say no. The you may say that the effect of advertisement on the shopping is different for male and female. So here we are not comparing the mean, we are comparing the impact. Impact is measured in terms of beta. So there are two type of comparisons. Number one, comparison of the average, and second is the comparison of the effect. So comparison of the average is known as difference of mean, and comparison of the effect is known as moderation effect. Moderation effect. So the concept of moderation effect comes from the comparison of the effect. Okay, I'm giving you one more example of the moderation effect. Like for example, if I fix the diet of everybody in the group, and I want to check the increase in weight after 1 month. Now tell me whether the increase in weight, the effect of food on the increase in weight is same for everyone or it is different for different people. And I'm saying it is different. Why? Because those who are young, they need more energy, right? Their metabolism is faster, so they will not have the increase in weight. But the people like us, those who are in middle or old age, right? So if we take the same food, our weight will increase. Why? Because our metabolism is low. So it means the age group, the effect is different. This is called moderation effect. So moderation effect we normally discuss in the other workshops. Now the topic is that we are comparing the mean. So we compare the average. This is the concept of difference of mean, right? So in throughout the session, I will discuss the average or mean. So I will also say average or mean. Now the what is the null hypothesis? Null hypothesis means what is the concept according to the God. So what God thinks. So whether the God think male and female are different or whether the God think whether male and female are same. So I say that null means natural. Natural means that is made by the God. So the null always say that both are equal. Null hypothesis always assumes that all are equal. If I ask you, can I say that the pollution in Delhi and Bombay and Chennai are equal? So you may say no, but actually according to the God, because God created all the cities same. So from null perspective, there is no difference. There is no difference. Who make the difference? We make the difference. So a null hypothesis in t-test, z-test or ANOVA test is same, that the mean of different groups are same. Or we can write in this language also that there exists no significant difference. Remember, no significant difference or same mean are same thing. If I say mean are equal is same as there is no difference. So because many people say me, sir, you are saying that no significant difference. It means it's a negative sentence. No, no, it is not a negative sentence. It is a neutral statement. So I'm saying that there is no significant difference in the mean of different groups. And hypothesis we write mu1 is equal to mu2. Why I am writing mu1 and mu2? Because there is a universal concept in hypothesis testing that we always test the hypothesis for the population. We don't test the hypothesis for the sample. We test the hypothesis for the population, but with the help of sample data. And we assume that the sample represents the population, so that whatever conclusion we can make will be applicable on the population. This is the small concept of hypothesis testing. And to compare the mean, we are having three tests. So we are having three tests to compare the mean. These tests are Z test, T test, and ANOVA test. So these are the three tests that we are going to discuss today. This is Z test, T test, and ANOVA test. So let's move to the next. Now in this slide, I will explain why is the T test and why ANOVA test and why Z test is applicable and where and why. So, uh, so first test is the Z test, and second is T test, and third is ANOVA. And before going to describe this slide, I want to tell you one thing, that there is a lot of confusions between these three tests. There is a lot of confusions between these three tests, and those who are teaching the statistics, even they don't know. Because what is the reason of this? Because uh, Indian teachers are teaching the books, right? And the industry do the practice. There's a difference between what we are teaching the books and what we are doing, right? So there is a difference. So that's why there's a lot of difference between Z test, T test, and ANOVA test. Now, the first point I want to explain here, the Z test is used to compare the mean of two groups. T test is used to compare the mean of two groups, and ANOVA is used to compare the mean of three or more than three groups. So this is the first point. So just listen once again. In Z test, we compare the mean of two groups. In T test, we compare the mean of two groups. In ANOVA, we compare the mean of three or more than three groups. This is the first point. Second point, Z test is applicable for finite population, and T test and one-way ANOVA is applicable for infinite population. Now you may ask me that what is the meaning of finite population and infinite population? The answer is very simple. If you have the data of each and every one in the population is said to be finite. I repeat, if you have each and everybody, the detail of each and everyone in the population, then you can apply Z test. And if you don't have the detail of each and every one of the population, then you cannot apply Z test. You can apply T test or one way ANOVA. For example, I'm giving you some examples. I want to know that why people adopt online shopping behavior. Do I have the data of each and everybody who is doing online shopping? Answer is no. If I now next question is that I want to know that uh, what is the effect of advertisement on the buying of the green product? So do I have the data of each and everybody who is buying the green product? The answer is no. Do you have? You maybe one of my friend is doing the study of the behavior of using Ola and Uber apps. Now the question is that do I have the data of everyone who is using the Ola and Uber app? The answer is no. I don't have the data, and even I cannot collect the data because the population is in crores. So in all these cases, the population is infinite. It's infinite. We don't have finite population. Because of this reason, it is found that it is observed by the software companies that because you know that there are so many companies which are making the softwares, which are developing the softwares. These companies realize that the Z test is only applicable in books. Z test is not applicable in practice because Z test want the data of the population which we don't have, which we never have actually. So Z test is known as imaginary test or the test which is only a statistician it knows or the test which is only available in books. Why books? Now, if you see the language of the books, the question is that assume that the average income of the consumers using the mobile phone is 90,000. So they assume each and everything. But in practical, we cannot assume like that. So in books, you can assume that this is the average mean, average variance. But in practical, you cannot assume. So the Z test is a bookish test. So I call this test as a test which is only found in books. That test is not found in practice. Why? Because we never deal with the finite population. Impossible, right? And that's why I conclude with one sentence that Z test is a bookish test only available in books, not applicable in practical, and no software gives you the facility of applying Z test. for comparison of the mean. So we are left with two tests, t-test and ANOVA. So you can see that one of the assumption of that test is the population mean. This I written in the red. Population mean and variance is known with certainty, and this is only an imaginary concept. We never know the population mean and variance with certainty, so it is just impossible to apply Z test in practical, right? And so we put a cross on the Z test because we are not going to apply Z test anywhere. So I am putting a cross on it. The reason is that the Z test is only found in books. Now we are left with two tests. One is t test and second is one way ANOVA. Okay, now compare with t test and ANOVA. The answer is very simple. If you want to compare t test with ANOVA, the answer is very simple. T test is applicable for two groups. ANOVA is applicable for more than two groups. This is only difference between t test and ANOVA. This is the basic difference between t test and ANOVA. T-test, whenever you are having two groups, suppose you want to compare urban, rural, married, unmarried, male, female, then T-test. But if you want to apply education background or age group, yeah, young, middle, old, retired, right? And you want to compare BA, BCom, MSc, MBA, whatever be. So this is called ANOVA because you are comparing more than two groups, right? Income group is divided normally into three groups. So on the basis of the income, you can say that low income, middle income, high income. So in that case, T-test is not applicable. Which test you can apply? ANOVA. So now we learn one thing very clearly. The learning is Z test we don't apply. So need not to learn Z test because it is a bookish test only found in books. Second, T test is applicable when we are comparing the mean of two groups. Third, ANOVA is applicable when we are going to compare mean of three or more than three groups. This is ANOVA. And otherwise, there is no difference between TNS and ANOVA. This is the basic difference. So after this slide, we know when we have to apply t-test and when we have to apply one-way ANOVA. So I'm giving you 1 minute to read the lines, and after that I will move to the next slide. Okay, now we are moving to the t-test. T-test is divided into three types. So we have three categories of t-test. So these three categories of t-test are one sample t-test, second is independent sample t-test, and the third is paired or repeated sample t-test. So first of all, we will discuss one sample t-test, then do the practice on that. Independent sample t-test, we will do practice on that, and paired sample t-test, we will do practice on that. So now I am first of all, I am moving to the one sample t-test. Okay. So now we are moving to the detailed aspect. Okay. So what happens in one sample t-test that we are going to compare sample mean with the population mean. Now you may be thinking that population mean, how to measure the population mean? So I am giving you one example. Okay. One of my colleagues say that my teaching is excellent, and you can ask any faculty, any student that in my subject they will secure 90% marks. Okay, so it means whatever whosoever student is there in the class, he is getting the 90% marks. So I pick a sample of 10 students and ask them what is your marks. Then I compare with the population mean. So nowadays every college is declaring that our average package of our student is this. The car manufacturing companies, they claim that this car is giving you 25 kilometer per liter mileage, right? And the tire making company, they say that our tire will go for 40,000 kilometers. One company say that the tire we make will travel 1 lakh kilometers, right? Or so most of the companies say like this. And even I know that in those some days back, the the companies which are selling the water bottles, they say that this bottle is having this mg of potassium, this mg of mineral, and this mg of, so they call it mineral water. But later on, when the researchers find out, then they found that there is no mineral in this water bottle, and so the mineral word removed from the water bottles. Now they are known as plain water bottle. Earlier they call it mineral water bottle because the claims was proved to be wrong. So one sample t test is applicable when you want to check the claim about the population statement. When you want to check the claim about the population statement, then we can apply one sample t test. The comparison with the neutral. Now this is another case I found in some research and as well as some paper also. So when we can say that people are happy, let's like for example, uh, somebody claimed that the people in this country are happy. Now how to prove that? Because we are not having the population mean, but the claim is that they are happy. Some companies say that our employees are highly motivated. Our employees are highly motivated. Some mobile companies say that we are having the highest satisfied customers. Now the question is that in these kind of statements, we don't have population mean. So what happens? We have to compare with the neutral. So we take the data and we assume that population mean is neutral and we compare with the neutral. So then you have to apply one sample t-test. So I have seen some papers and even I applied one sample t-test, some of the thesis. And when in one of the thesis, the research scholar want to prove that after implementation of the ERP, the productivity of the employee increases. So they ask different statement of the productivity, and we assume that in the 5-point scale, 3 is the neutral, and we compare the mean with the neutral. And if we found that the actual average is different from the 3, then we can say yes, their productivity increases. So this is the second case where you can apply the neutral with the one sample test. So the normal procedure is we take a sample, we calculate the sample mean and compare the sample mean with the population mean. So this is a symbolic picture where this large bucket is representing the population and this small bucket is the sample, and then the mean of sample is compared with the population. And here we are applying the test. The formula for T, I will not explain the formula in detail. Just for those who want to know, the one sample T test is applying this formula x bar minus mu upon standard deviation and minus 1. So here x bar is the sample mean, mu is the population mean, and sigma is the standard deviation of the sample, and capital N is the sample size. So this is one sample t-test. So the one sample t-test where we compare the sample with the population to see if the mean is what we think. What we think means population. Okay. So now I am going to show you some examples of the one sample t-test. So I will share the data and the PPT after this session. And I will demonstrate two examples for each case. So this is the first example I'm showing you. And after the first example, I will demonstrate second to enhance the learning. Okay, in this case, assume that there is a company and the company claims that this company is known for reducing the weight. And you can assume that it is a weight loss company. And the company claimed that if any customer come to us and join our program, our weight loss program, the weight will reduces by 5 kg. So whosoever join our program will reduce the weight by 5 kg in 1 month. Now it means everyone is losing the weight by 5 kg. This is the meaning of population mean. So to examine whether they are telling true or false, or whether they are saying right or wrong, one of the researcher collected the data of 50 respondents. So these respondents joined the companies, and the researcher want to know that how much weight these customers lost after joining the 1 month. And now we are going to apply t-test. So we are having the sample data, and you can see that in analyze we are having an option called compare means. So the comparison of the means itself is a big thing. It represents you the test of difference. So we are going to apply one sample t-test. In one sample t-test, I hope you can see the data. Okay. So this is the data file, and we are going to apply one sample t-test. So we go to analyze, and we are going to compare means. Compare means indicate that test of difference, and we are going to one sample t-test. And in one sample t-test, the sample, because we are having the data of the sample, we can transfer the sample here, weight loss, and you can see there is a value called test value. So this is the test value, and this test value is demanding the population mean. So here you have to put what is the population mean. So population mean, we assume it is 5, and okay. Now we are having these two tables in the output. So first I will tell you the sample size is 50. It means you are having the data of 50 respondent. The average weight loss is 4.02, and the standard deviation of the data is 1.11. And this test value, you can see this test value is 5. And we are comparing with 4.02 with 5. So after that, you have to check two things. Number one, you have to check the t value. This is the t statistic. And then you have to check the significance value, that is called p value. Now I am writing the rule of thumb in case of t test. Thumb rule. So the rule of thumb is that if t statistic is more than 1.96 or p value, p value is known as significance value. Significance value. If p value is less than 0.05, this is 0.05. Now, if both these cases are there, so it means null hypothesis rejected. So this is the thumb rule of t-test. Okay. Now let's compare. The t value is okay. One thing also I want to tell you here. In t statistic, we ignore the sign. We do not see whether it is positive or negative. So don't see the negative or positive. Just see the magnitude. So here the value of t is how much? 6.212. It is more than 1.96. Yeah, ignoring the sign, yes. So 6.212 is more than 1.96. Then my second is significance value. I am checking whether p value, this is called p value or significance value. Is this value less than 0.05? Yes, you say yes, it is 0.05. So my condition fulfilled. My condition fulfilled. And almost in every case, this condition, both the condition must fulfill. If my both conditions are fulfilled, now what is my conclusion? My conclusion is that I can reject the null hypothesis. It means sample mean is not equal to population mean, and sample mean here is 4.02. Population mean is 5. So company is making false statement about the weight loss. There is a significant difference between the population mean and the sample mean. So now I conclude that company is making false statement. Company is overstating the actual weight loss. So in this case, I can apply t-test and conclude that like this. So I'm going to another example. I hope this example is clear, and the more clarity will come in the next example. Okay. So I am giving you another example. The one sample t-test. And I will also show you the neutral wala case, neutral case. Okay. Now, in this example, let's take this variable. In this variable, the company is claiming that the average mileage of the bike is 85 kilometer per liter. The average mileage of the bike is 85 kilometer per liter. So it means whatever bike the company is manufacturing, every bike is having this mileage. So we take a data and we measure the mileage on different roads and different uh, cities, and we want to check whether the company mean, the population mean, is same as sample mean or not. So we are going to analyze compare means and independent, one sample t-test. So in this case, average mileage is go to the test variable, and population mean comes here. This is 85. As I told you, the test value is the population mean, and okay. Now I have to compare with my thumb rule. This p value is less than 1.96 in this case, and the significance value is also more than 0.05. So here I cannot reject the null hypothesis. Why? Because p value is not more than 1.96. P value is not less than 0.05. So I cannot reject the null hypothesis. So here my conclusion is that the company statement is right. Sample mean is equal to the population mean. So company is making the right statement. So in this way, we can apply the one sample t-test. So I am showing you one more example of one sample t-test, and I hope after that you will be have more clarity. Okay. Now this is the data. Okay, actually in this case we cannot apply. Let me open some other data set. Okay. So in this data set, let's say BT1 is a variable, BT2 is another variable. So BT1, BT2, BT3, BT4, BT5. All the 5 variables are measuring what? Brand trust. So I repeat, these 5 statements are measuring the brand trust. And I want to know whether the brand trust is high or the brand trust is low. This is for a product. And I want to know that whether people, consumers, trust on this brand or not. So first of all, I will take the average of all the 5. I'm showing you how. So transform. There is an option called transform. Compute variable. And we are making a new variable, that brand trust. So brand trust is the variable, and you know that I am taking the average of this. So I am adding all the items in the brand trust and divided by 5. So after that, if I calculate, I got a new variable, and I can apply t-test on that. So this is my variable. This is the average brand trust on the item. Now the question is, are the people have the trust on the brand or no trust on the brand? So what is the actual case? So this is the data on the 7-point scale. So here, what is the neutral value? Answer is 4. So I will compare one sample t-test. So I'm taking the brand trust here. And what is the test value here? The neutral value. And the answer is 4. So I want to know that what is the actual value of brand trust and whether it is significantly different from the neutral or not. And okay. So here, the mean I found is 5.061, and the test value is 4, is the neutral value, and T statistic is 18.418, which is significantly higher than 4 or 1.96. So we compare T with 1.96. So it is highly higher than 1.96, and P value is less than 0.05, right? And sample mean is higher than the population mean. So what is the conclusion? So conclusion is that we can reject the null hypothesis and can conclude that the trust of the consumer on this brand is significantly higher than neutral. So we can say there exists significant positive trust on the brand, on this brand. So this is one of the tests which I frequently found in few papers when you want to see, when you want to prove that the brand trust is significantly exists in the customers. So in these two methods, the one sample t-test is applicable. So I demonstrated you 3 examples, and I hope when you watch the video again, the more clarity will come. So let's move to the PPT once again. So I just want to tell you that we apply one sample t-test on 2 cases, in 2 cases, when we want to check the claim about the population mean, and when we compare the result with the neutral to decide whether the people are significantly away from the neutral or not. This is the formula, and this is all about one sample t-test. Now we are moving to the second case. The second case is known as independent sample t-test. So first of all, we have to think that what is the meaning of independent samples? Can I say the male and female are independent? The answer is yes. Can I say the young generation is independent to the old generation? The answer is yes. Can I say the bank employees and the manager of the bank employees are independent? The answer may be no. Why? Because manager instruct each and every employee that you should not write anything wrong about the bank. So the response of employee depends upon the bank manager. So we have to think that whether the samples are independent or not. Otherwise, most of the demographic profiles like income group, age group, gender, marital status, so all these groups are considered to be independent. Now we are comparing these two independent groups. And what we compare the mean. So this independent sample t-test, actually in this picture, the person is having two. There are two pot. So there are two, and the person is comparing that who is more, which is having more weight. So he may be comparing the weight. So similarly, when we compare the average of two or more groups, then we have to apply independent sample t-test. Okay. These two these two groups may belong to the same population or the different population. For example, you may compare the employees of a same company or the different companies. This is also possible. Sometimes we compare different countries. So they may come from different population or they come from the same population. Okay. These are some of the examples, like testing difference in the average level of performance between employees with MBA degree and employees without MBA degree. Testing difference in the average wages received by labor in two different industries. Testing difference in the average monthly sales of the two firms, and the null hypothesis that there is no difference. So I hope you understand that when we can apply independent sample t-test, when we are comparing two different groups, then we can apply independent sample t-test. Now in SPSS, we apply this formula, and numerator is the difference of the two samples, and the denominator is the combined standard deviation, where N1 is the sample size of first sample, N2 is the sample size of second sample, S1 is the standard deviation of first sample, S2 is the standard deviation of second sample. So the combined denominator represents the combined standard deviation. And in case there are different cases when sample size are same, when standard deviation are same, so then this formula come to a small formula. Otherwise, this is the total formula of t-test. Okay. Uh, because we are comparing two groups. Now there are many questions comes in my mind. Like sometimes one professor asks me, "Sir, tell me one thing. In my class, there are 70 students, and 15 students are females, and 55 students are male. The question is that, can I compare female students with the male students?" So I'm asking, so then I ask, what is the problem? What is the problem? So then the professor tell me that the sample size of one is less than 30. Sample size of other group is more than 30. Can we compare them? Some sample size is huge. They are different. Okay. So then we have to find out some solution. So there is a solution. Whenever we apply independent sample t-test, so this kind of problem comes, that whether the sample size are equal or they are unequal. Most of the time they are unequal because we never have the equal sample size. You can take any example. You cannot found male and female in equal quantity. If you go to the college, 80% of the faculties are female. If you go to the student, the BTech class, in BTech, 80% of the student are male. So there's a difference. So how to compare them? So the SPSS arrange this problem in two stages. So the SPSS say that, okay, don't worry, I will solve your problem, and first of all, I will check whether we can compare the two groups or not. So SPSS arrange this independent sample t-test in two stages. The stage number one is that SPSS say that let's compare the two samples, whether they are comparable or not. So we apply a test called Levene homogeneity test of variance. So this is called assumption testing. And what assumption we are testing? Whether we can compare the samples or not. So we can compare the samples or not. So the null hypothesis is that equal variance is assumed. The null hypothesis of assumption testing is that equal variances is assumed. And if we reject this hypothesis, it means the variances are unequal. Now, in this case, when we go to the test of difference, after testing the hypothesis, after knowing whether they are comparable or not, we go to the t-test. So if If they are comparable, if it means if they have the equal variance, then we see the upper value of t. And if the variances are not equal, then we go to the lower value of t. So this I will explain you in the example, and you will definitely understand this. So I repeat that independent sample t test is conducted in two stages: assumption testing and the hypothesis testing. So this is the two method. So now I am showing you the SPSS file. So how to apply independent sample t test first. Okay. In this data set, so we divided the employees into two profession. So we are having the data of some respondent. Some of them are doing the service and some of them are in business, right? So I hope you understand that service means private service, government service and all. And there are two different kind of people. The first group is of those who are in service and second group are of those who are in business. And we measure their adverse quotient score. This adverse quotient means how much you are capable in facing the opposite conditions. How much you are capable in facing the opposite scenario. Like for example, when Corona comes, so you can assume it as a adverse condition, right? So how you face it? You your attitude is positive, still positive during that time, or your attitude is negative during that time. And actually, this concept of adversity quotient was very popular after the suicide of Sushant, because most of the psychologists say that Sushant was not having enough adverse quotient in the personality. Because when you are happy, you are very happy. When the time is good, you are very happy. But when the time is bad, then what is your behavior? That how cool you are during those times. So that capability is known as adverse quotient, and it is measurable. So the thought comes in the researcher mind that let's check whether the ये बबीता यादव को क्या हो गया? Why you are spoiling the screen? Please, ये क्या हो गया से? Please delete it. इसे क्यों गुस्सा आ गया? अरे ये लाइनें कैसे हटेगी? Okay. So I was discussing the adversity quotient. So I want to compare the adversity quotient of the adversity quotient of service class and the business class. Okay. So go to the analyze, compare means, and now we are going to independent sample t-test. So the second test is known as independent sample t-test. And the adversity quotient goes to the test variable and the independent categories go to the grouping variable. And in the software is asking that what number you are giving to them. So I click on the define groups. Group number 1 is 1 and group number 2 is 2. Continue and OK. So this is the command of independent sample t-test, and let's see the result. So this is the result. Okay. Now in this case, the first table, this is the first table. The first table is showing you that there are 20 respondent in service class and 20 respondent in business class. The average adversity quotient in service class is 49 and the average adversity quotient in business class is 63. So we can see that they are different. Now let's come to the sample. So I told you that the independent sample t-test is divided into two parts. The first part is Levine test and the second part is basically known as the hypothesis testing. So this case, the first part is known as assumption testing. And this part is known as the hypothesis testing. So I write this hypothesis testing. Now in assumption testing, we have to check these two values and we have to check whether the significance value is less than 0.05 or not. So if I erase this, now check this value. If it is less than 0.05, then it means the groups are not comparable. I repeat, if this significance value is less than 0.05, it means the samples have unequal variance and we have to check the lower value of t. And if significance value is more than 0.05, which is the case in our example, then we have to check upper value of t. So on the basis of the significance value, we have to decide which t value we have to check. Now, if you see the PPT, on the basis of a Levine test of homogeneity, the SPSS gives two value of t statistic. In case of equal variances, both the values are the same. It means if you are accepting the null hypothesis, both the values, upper and lower values are same. But if the sample variances are different, then lower t statistic should be considered for final analysis. So in the result, the p value is more than 0.05. It means both samples have the equal variance, and we have to check the first value, upper value. And upper value is more than 1.96. P value is less than 0.05. So it means the difference between the groups is significant. So now we conclude that business class as having significantly higher adversity quotient as compared to service class. This is my example number 1. So let's do some other example because I know that this is my experience. So in one example, it is very difficult to understand independent sample t-test. So let's discuss more example. Okay. Now in this case, this is another example. Uh, in a organization, there are two departments. One is sales department and another is audit department. And you know that both the department travel too much. So we are having two departments. If you click on this button, you can see their codes. One means travel, sales, and two means audit. So if you click on it, so one means sales department and two means audit department. And the manager is asking that, tell me whether both department have the average equal traveling expenses or one department is having more traveling expenses as compared to other. So we have to tell that. So the question is that whether the average traveling expenses of both the departments are equal or not. Null hypothesis assumes that they are equal. And let's check. This is the command. Travel expenses we are comparing for the groups and define groups. We assign number 1 and 2, 1 for sales and 2 for audit. Continue and OK. Now the sales department have 15 employees, and these 15 employees have the average traveling expense of 154. Audit department have the 9 employees, and the average expense is 119. And if you check the p value, here p value of assumption testing, because Levin test is assuming the assumption. P value is 120. It is more than 0.05. It means both the groups are equal in variance. So we have to check the upper value of T. If we look at the upper value of T, it is more than 1.96. So T statistic is found to be more than 1.96 and P value is less than 0.05. So we can conclude that the traveling expenses are different because T is representing what? Difference. If T value is more than 1.96, it represents significant difference. So there is a significant difference between the traveling expense between sales department and audit department with respect to travel expenses. And because mean of audit department is less than the mean of sales department, so we can say sales department have more higher average traveling expenses. This is the conclusion. Now I hope you understand how to interpret the t-test, independent sample t-test, and let's do one more example because more and more example will give you more clarity. Okay. Now in this data set, this is another data set. So in this data set, suppose the manager want to know, now tell me, can I say the performance, because in every organization they calculate the performance score of different employees. So the manager is asking, so tell me whether the performance of less than 40 years of age employees and more than 40 years of age employees are different or same. So the manager want to know whether the performance of the employees who are more than 40 years of age is better or the performance of the employees where age is less than 40 is better. Okay, now you're thinking that this age is not a category variable because we are having the age. So we are having one more facility in t-test that I'm going to show you. Let's see carefully, analyze, compare means independent sample t-test, and I want to compare the performance score and age I'm taking here. And because I want to divide the employees in two groups, I will click define group and you can see that there's a cut point. There's a facility of cut point. and my cut point is 40. So I want to compare whether the employees more than 40 years of age or less than years of age are same performance, same performer or not. So I want to check the performance score of both the groups. Age cutoff is the 40 and okay. So after that, you can see the first group is of those employees where age is more than 40, 40 and more than 40. And the second group is where the age is less than 40. There are 22 employees where the age is more than 40, and there are 28 employees where age is less than 40. The employees who are more than 40, their average performance is 68. And the employees where age is less than 40, the average performance score is 55. Now we can see they are different, but are they significantly different? So for that, we have to check the lower table. So first of all, we have to identify whether the assumption is fulfilled or not. Assumption means whether they are same or not. So if you check the significance value, it is more than 0.05. So we are happy. Assumption is fulfilled. Assumption of what? That they are having equal variances. They are comparable. They can be compared. So we have this equal value and we have to check the t value. T value is more than 1.96. And we know that when t value is more than 1.96, p value is less than 0.05, it means null hypothesis can be rejected. It means both the groups are significantly different. And so they are different. And mean of which group is high? Employees more than 40. So we can say the employees who are more than 40 years of age are performing better. And I have a very funny incident of the employees, older employees. I found that as your age increases, you start more buttering to your bosses. And this is my experience. So you are more serious, you are more sincere, right? So you are more dedicated. So your performance increases. So it is my observation that as the age grows, the person is more sincere about the job. So we can say that so these are the logic, because actually there are two things. As a researcher, we do the hypothesis testing from the software and we try to answer it with the help of literature review. Now you may so I can tell you from the t-test that the performance of the employees who are more than 40 years of age is better than the employees who are less than 40 years of age. But why? The answer of this why come from the literature review, literature support, and you can also add your observations. So my sample t-test is over. So we have discussed three examples of independent sample t-test, and I'm expecting a good level of clarity in the test. So after that, let's go to the paired sample t-test. So this is the third kind of t-test. In paired sample t-test, we are comparing same group, but pre and post. So this is called pre-post test. So this test is also known as pre and post test. Basically, suppose I took your test of statistics before this training program, and I will also take the test after the training program, right? So uh, then I want to check whether this training program is helpful or not. So in this example, the respondent remains the same before the test and after the test. Okay, I'm giving you another example. The doctor collected the data of 20 employees, 20 patients, sorry, and the doctor measure the health of these 20 patients. Then doctor asks each patient to spend 20 minutes for breathing exercise. And after 1 month, he again measure the health. So in this experiment, the 20 patient remains the same before the experiment and after the experiment, right? So these 20 patients remain the same, and you want to compare that whether their health before the experiment and after the experiment is same or not. So I want to so the doctor want to check that. So this example is known as paired sample t test. Paired sample means when you compare pre and post. Pre and post. Right. So the objective of the paired sample t test is to check the impact of the experiment, whether the experiment is significant or whether the experiment is not significant. Like for example, the marketing people, normally they do it very frequently. They measures their average sales, right? Suppose they have the data of average sales from their outlets for a month, like for example, let's say for a June, and they want to increase it. So they have decided to launch a marketing activity or a promotion scheme. After launching the promotion scheme for 1 month, they will again measure the average sales. Now they can identify whether the promotion scheme is helpful in increasing the sales or not. So this is also a t-test because the data of the same outlets before and after the marketing program. So a paired sample t-test is also known as repeated sample because the data responses is collected from the same respondent but at different time periods. Different time period means before and after. So a paired sample t-test is used to test the impact of an event or experiment on the variable under studies. Variable means the patients, the students, or the employees, etc. Data is collected from the same respondent before and after the event. Then pre and post averages are compared. So we are comparing basically the pre-mean and post-mean, and pre-mean and the post-mean. So what is the null hypothesis in this case? The null hypothesis is that the pre-mean and post-mean are equal. So there is no change. There is no change. This is the null hypothesis. These are some of the examples of where we can apply the paired sample t-test. For example, analyzing the effectiveness of training program on the performance of employees of a business enterprise, analyzing the impact of a new advertisement on the sales of the product, analyzing the impact on the of a policy on the volatility in the stock market, analyzing the difference in the responses of the same group of the two different treatments, right? So these are the paired sample t-test, and this is the formula for paired sample t-test. P is actually the difference between pre and post. So pre and post, right? Okay. So let me show you some of the examples of paired sample t-test in SPSS. Okay. Now this is one example. Okay. So in this example, the data is collected from the women who are actually the members of self-help groups, right? So this data I took from a research scholar study. So if you want to know that whether the quality of life of the women who are living in villages and rural areas improves after joining the self-help group or not. So because government is promoting self-help groups in the rural areas, And the self-help group is found to be beneficial in many ways. So the scholar is interested to find out whether the quality of life of the women significantly improves after joining the self-help group or not. So he collected the data before and after. So those who are not at present member of the group, but later on they join. Then the data is also collected after joining the self-help group. Okay. So this is the quality of life before joining the self-help group, and this is the life quality after joining the self-help group. So here the quality of life consists of many variables like their decision making, their communication skills, their income, their monthly income, like that. Okay, now we are going to apply paired sample t-test. So analyze, compare means, and you can see that the second last option we are having the paired sample t-test. Now you have to select pre and post in one and send to the this window. So select pre and post and select send to this window and click OK. Now you can see the life quality before joining, the average is 43.5, and the life quality after joining, it is 60. It is 60. So there is a difference. Then we have to find out whether it is significant or not. So t value is given here. You can see in the last, we are having the t value. The t value is this, and p value is this. The mean of pre is this, mean of post is this. So you have to check these four values. Here t value is more than 1.96. We can see very clearly the t value is more than 1.96, ignoring the sign. And the p value is found to be 0.000, which indicates that there exists significant difference in the mean before and after. And because the mean of after is higher, so our conclusion is that the average quality of life of the woman after joining the self-help group is significantly high as compared to before joining the group. So in this way, we can identify, we can examine the paired sample t-test. So I am giving you one more example of paired sample t-test. So let me open one more example. Paired sample t-test. Okay. Now this is a very simple example. This example I took from a book. There are 30 employees in a company, and they are selected for a training program. So their test is taken, and this is the scores of the test before joining the training program, and they attended the training program, and after that the test is again conducted to understand their performance. So this the post training score indicate the performance after joining the training program, and pre-training program means the before joining the training program. So we want to know that whether the performance before joining the training program and after joining the training program is equal or not. So let's go to the analyze. Compare means and one way ANOVA. Sorry, paired sample t-test. And then we will select the both and send to the window. Just click OK. And here you have to look four values. The pre-training score is 51. post training score is 68, and T statistic is more than 1.96, and TP value is also less than 0.05. So we can conclude that there is a significant increase in the performance after joining the training program, because post mean is significantly higher than pre mean, and T significance T value P value is found to be less than 0.05. T value is found to be more than 1.96. So our conclusion is that there exists significant increase in the performance after joining the training program. So this is the second example of paired sample t-test. So in this way, we can uh, we can conduct it the paired sample t-test, and with this example, we have done paired sample t-test. Okay. So one way, Anova, I think we will do tomorrow, because today I do not want to finish it in a hurry, because this is an important test, and I will discuss ANOVA tomorrow. Okay.